Welcome! We're Todd and Marcy, and we decided to be more intentional about travel, so we bought an RV and hit the road. This is the last episode in a series where we traveled west from our home state of Wisconsin and visited many amazing places. Join us as we share our memories regarding favorite sites, hikes, and locations, and we include a few unpleasant experiences. Todd starts us off with one of our first stops.
So the first spot was the Cracker Barrel on the way there, which that wasn't that hot. It was kind of noisy, but...
That was the one where there was the yelling and the arguing in the parking lot at midnight?
No, that was the second Cracker Barrel. Then the next morning, you wanted to go get the coffee. That's when we went over by that park. What was that called?
Falls Park.
Falls Park? That was... Then we went in, we found a coffee shop, and that was when you asked them where the river walk was. And we were close enough, we could just walk right from the coffee shop.
Yeah, that was
a total surprise to me. I'd never heard about that. All the times I've been to Sioux Falls, I've never seen it. The park was amazing.
It was amazing. A delightful experience.
Super cool. The carvings were neat. It had that carving, that buffalo, which was...
Oh, the sculptures?
Sculpture, yeah. That sculpture of the buffalo was really impressive.
Yeah.
The story about that old mill, the
Queen Bee
Mill, yeah, which they built the biggest mill out there and they just didn't have enough water to run the mill and not enough corn to grind. Now, some other company tried to revive it. They found the same thing. It's like, oh yeah, we still don't have enough corn.
Yeah. I guess in theory it was supposed to be great, but it wasn't.
And then after that, Custer State Park.
Right. Yeah.
And we stopped at that roadside thing with
the Statue of Dignity.
That was really cool. I had not seen that before, and up close it was impressive. It was so large.
Mm-hmm. And that was another surprise at a rest stop. So, I mean, I'd heard that it was there, but I just didn't know how nice it was. Yeah. Many things exceeded my expectations on our trip.
Yes, you said that a few times.
I did. Yes.
And in Custer State Park, so I kind of had memories of being there as a kid, but I don't know, I just wasn't as impressed as a kid as I was as an adult now. It was really very, very cool park.
Yeah, one of the best ever.
Yeah, it's way up there. So much to see, and then the hiking we did there was
that was at the Wind Cave National Park where we did that lookout point loop.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
I hope we could probably got some pictures and footage of that.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah.
Hiking out in the fields when you run across a herd of buffalo is cool.
Yeah. Something we've never experienced.
The prairie dogs whining at us the whole time we were walking through.
Yeah. One of my favorites was driving through the Black Hills. The Needles Highway was just so much fun. And the views were amazing.
Yeah, we just kind of lucked into that. We did it, right? We were kind of done for the day because we were exhausted. And then we sat down for quite a while.
Yeah.
And you were feeling rested and you're like, oh, maybe we should do that drive tonight.
And wasn't it really hot that day? So we weren't really wanting to hike.
Well, we had already hiked.
Right. But I mean, it was like, oh, well, this is something we can do. Let's go for a drive.
Right.
Yeah.
And the timing was perfection because the way the sun was setting, the way the light was going across the needles was really cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was
you said you enjoyed those hairpin turns?
Yeah, it was pretty fun to drive, for sure. This truck handles pretty good without the trailer.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun to drive.
Then we went to Boysen State Park.
Yeah, we left. Well, we also went to Rushmore while we were at
we did.
Drove the highway where you can see Rushmore through the tunnels.
Yep. That was cool. It was kind of dusk, so I don't know if the footage really showed how
probably not.
How amazing that was. Yeah.
Good in person. And then that was the nighttime lighting of Mount Rushmore. So that was, I'd never seen it at night before. That was kind of neat. And then I think that was it. Then we went to
we did like the wildlife loop.
Oh yeah.
Which was also really nice because we saw wildlife. I mean, I think that's where we saw the burros, which was fun. I really wanted to see some burros.
Wild burros, buffalo, pronghorn, antelope. I think that was all we saw there.
Yeah, probably, because we didn't, it was the mule deer. I think that was in the Tetons area that we saw that first, right? Yeah.
So then Boysen was after the...
Yeah, I think Boysen State Park is in Shoshone. I believe Shoshone, Wyoming.
But, yeah, the lake was total... It looked so cool because there's this reservoir behind the dam, and it looked so cool when we were driving by it. And then our campsite was below the dam, along the river, which was great. But then when we went and paddled the reservoir, it had like an algae thing.
Yeah, I wonder how, I mean, it was bright green. I hope the footage picked it up as bright green because it was. Our campsite was on a river. What was the name of that river? Snake River, yes, that was a long river.
It was all over the place. When we were driving away from it, right, we were along the Snake River for hours.
Yeah. I guess that was a really descriptive name for it because it snaked through so much territory.
And I guess it left enough sediment that the land around it was pretty good for farming. So there were actually some crops. Even in the book we were listening to, they talked about that the Snake River had left enough sediment that it was easier to grow things along the Snake River.
Yeah, that was another cool thing about our trip is our Audible book was about the explorers. It was more about the trappers. The trappers at the time that they were discovering routes and new territory for Western expansion.
Jim Bridger.
Kit Carson. Yeah, and there's a lot of references to them out west, especially in the Teton area. So that was fun to get some history too.
Yep.
Then we went to the Grand Tetons National Park.
Was that next?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
That was next.
Well, because we went over that pass where the fires were. Right?
Yeah. The wildfire, yeah.
So pretty big wildfire. They had the road shut down, and then you had to be escorted through a section.
With a pilot driver.
Yeah. Actually, if we had gone the day before, it was completely shut down. We wouldn't let anybody through. But when we went the next day, then we had to follow a pilot driver.
Of course, it did affect the air quality, which for me, it made being outside a little tricky at times, depending on which way the wind blew when we were at the Grand Tetons.
Yeah.
But of course, they were beautiful. And we stayed at Coulter Bay Campground, and that was a really nice campground. Yeah. And then we did hiking there too. We went to Jenny Lake and Taggart Lake.
Taggart Lake, that was a great hike.
That was a great hike, yeah. We went to Mormon Row. Didn't really want to open the windows because of the smoke.
Really
yeah, and the air was bad that day, but went and visited the town of Jackson.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So see where the elk go for winter.
At the refuge.
And that's where they shed their antlers, right? And then you said that the Boy Scouts go pick them up.
That's what I think. I thought you had mentioned that. Like $700 a year was on average. They
collect them and then they sell them.
Right. Yeah, I think so. Got a really good meal there. I can't remember the name of the restaurant though.
Yeah.
At Jackson.
Yeah. It was that little bread place.
But after that, we went to Yellowstone, and we weren't too far. So it wasn't a very long drive to get to Yellowstone National Park. We came in the southern entrance.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Because we were in Yellowstone within 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the whole rest of the drive was through Yellowstone.
Right.
Then we were seeing the things that we were going to go see the next day. We were seeing where they were along the road.
Right. I tried to get a campsite in the national park, but they were all already booked. So I got one just outside.
Well, Which was
in
great.
Montana. Yeah, it did work out well because we were really close to a grocery store.
Yeah, it was called like West Yellowstone.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
That town was awesome. It had everything you could need.
Another great restaurant, Hank's, I think it was called. We had an amazing steak there. It was pricey.
It was market price.
That's what they said on the menu, market price. When they don't list a price, you know you're going to be paying. We don't eat out too often, so that was definitely a splurge.
And then we just stayed there for a few days and then just went into Yellowstone every day.
So
first thing in the morning.
What was your favorite thing to see or do at Yellowstone?
Yellowstone? Well, it was only for a split second, but probably the grizzly bear.
Oh,
I've been able to see more of that, but that was probably the best part, but it was literally a second.
we saw the back of a grizzly bear. He was kind of behind a little bit of a slope, and there was nowhere for us to pull over. And I tried to get my camera out right away,
Like a
and
bus came by at exactly the wrong time.
oh, yeah.
I got to see it, but it was just for a second. And at first, I totally thought it was a buffalo, but
No,
it was not.
it was not. Yeah.
So that was pretty exciting. But
Okay, your second favorite
second favorite
at Yellowstone.
Oh, the lower falls? Yeah, the lower falls.
The Lower Falls.
Lower falls.
Yeah. I think they called it the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone.
Oh, is that? Oh, okay.
And it was the upper and the lower falls, and that was my favorite too. So our favorite, other than the grizzly bear, was the same.
Yeah.
That was my favorite too.
Yellowstone was a lot of driving through pine trees. I was kind of surprised at that. I didn't realize that it was that much pine trees.
Yeah. And it was kind of fun to go a little bit north in Yellowstone because then we were getting snow
Oh, yeah.
on the trees. So we had, even the pine trees were diverse. So that was kind of fun to experience because it was relatively cold. In fact, we started off one day and it was 38 degrees.
Yeah.
I'm not able to remember the name of the I don't know if it was a hot spring, basically I believe a big hot spring in the basin, and just this hot mist was coming off of it, and it was so cold out, and the hot mist falling on you was just really fun to experience. And it was foggy, so we couldn't see all the colors, but a lot of the colors we were able to see. That was probably my second favorite thing.
That was pretty cool. A lot of that stuff has to do with colors, and colors they don't always hit home for me because I can't necessarily see them all, but it was cool.
And then after Yellowstone, we stayed at that Cracker Barrel, which was an unpleasant experience. And then after that, we headed back around and headed back east
Spearfish.
to Spearfish. Yeah.
Spearfish was a total surprise. What a cool campground. It's right in the middle of the city of Spearfish. That'd be
Yeah, Spearfish City
a
Campground.
little city, but
They had a lot to do there that we didn't even get a chance to take advantage of.
yeah, the city park was so well taken care of. They had the old power plant, which is still operational. It was commissioned in like 1912. I think it was still going. Oh, very, very cool.
And then we also went kayaking there. We kind of went off into the woods and found a lake on Google. And I don't remember the name of the lake offhand. I remember you saying it's very unusual to go uphill to a lake.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely went uphill a long ways, and all gravel too. That was
Yeah. We stayed at Spearfish, but then we did do a day trip into Deadwood.
Yep. It was okay.
It was okay.
That's where we saw the bighorn sheep
Okay, yeah.
right in town.
Right in town. Yeah, that was neat.
I think that was the same day we went into Grandpa's grave, the Black Hills National
Grandpa
Cemetery.
and Grandma.
Grandpa and Grandma in Delray. For that
In
matter.
Delray, yeah. And then we drove over to see where they lived.
Yeah, that's where I stayed my first year of college. Was with Grandma and Grandpa walk up. Yep, not much has changed there. The wall that we built was still there. That's cool.
Yeah. And then after that, we traveled to the boondocking spot over by the Badlands National Park. And it was on that cliff, which was super cool.
Yeah,
You can't describe it.
you can't, and the pictures do not do it justice.
Yeah.
You can't even tell that we're on a cliff, but
Yeah.
that was really neat.
Super windy, but super neat experience. While we were there, we did a couple hikes. The Notches, which was your favorite, right?
Absolutely.
So describe this Notches and why it was your favorite.
Just because it was the most extreme hiking we've ever done. You know what? I was so tired when we started that hike, I did not even want to do it. And by the time we were done, I was wide awake and ready to go. It was an exciting thing to me.
So I thought we were going to be walking through juniper trees and just casually walking on a boardwalk. And then we did end up doing the juniper
Yes.
hike also.
Just so you could wind down a little.
Yes. But that was lovely. That was a lot of nice scenery there. Badlands National Park was a lot of nice driving, which was gorgeous.
We
But
overdid a little bit.
well, you have to just really pay attention to the map, because if you look at the legend carefully, there's parts of it that are gravel roads, and we would recommend avoiding those.
As we headed home, we also talked about how much we benefited from purchasing the America the Beautiful National Park Pass. According to their website, it can be used at more than 2,000 sites managed by the Forest Service, National Park Service, and various other agencies. It's an annual pass that covers $80 per calendar year, and we used it over 5 times for entry at various locations during our 3-week trip. For our next adventure, Todd and I traveled to a beautiful Wisconsin state park in October while enjoying the fall colors. Join us next time as we hike, paddle, and explore, and thanks for watching as we share our travels while out and about.